you remember there was a point in time where if you said something antithetical to something like the CDC or the WHO, you were considered the anti-science person. And it didn't matter if you were part of any sort of, you could have had as much education in the field as the people that work for those organizations. Yet they acted as if you were saying something that was antithetical to what the science said. And they did that for a very long time. We mentioned what's that called, the Barrington Declaration or something like that, where you had guys like Jay Bhattacharya and Dr. Gupta, who put their name and other experts' name on this in terms of ending lockdowns and what have you. Well, they're considered the crazy ones. Jay Bhattacharya was ahead of some of this stuff and the reanalyzing of this pandemic. Before, I mean, this was back earlier in the last year in 2020. Guys like John Ioannidis as well, who also was of Stanford. You see, Wachowski, they acted as if they weren't a thing, or more dangerously rejected everything it was that they had said, though they are now proven to be right and correct on a lot of this stuff when it came to the vaccine and or potential of vaccines and mask herd immunity and all this stuff. So what's interesting is that when the CDC now, out of nowhere, again, no new data or anything, it's just how arbitrary this has been for the most part, they take the complete opposite position of what they had previously. Say you were vaccinated, you had to go, covering your face, all this stuff, and you still can't social. That didn't even make sense. It's like, what's the point? And then they up and changed and said, well, now it's okay, as if they control the virus itself. And the virus, what it does rests upon how they react. Now, we know that ain't how viruses work, but that's how they acted. Now, all of a sudden, it's allowable to have a different position from the CDC and the WHOs of the world. Now it's not anti-scientific. Ain't that something? When they were locked in, right? And when they were locked in with their positions, well, okay. All good. Lock it down, cover your face, diapers all the time, on your mouth, all of that. Now, all of a sudden, things change. The CDC was back, and I think it's because they lost, this is my honest opinion, they lost control of the narrative. It was done. Everything they said, for example, was supposed to, which was the most recent example, everything they had said was going to happen with Texas did not. When Texas reopened into their mask mandates, all these experts coming out and saying this is reckless, you're Neanderthals, this is all this sort of stuff. And all of what they said was supposed to happen did not happen. They were incorrect. Now, they're never going to see any consequence for it, but they were incorrect. The narrative got blown up. It should have been blown up with Florida. Hell, no, not even Florida. It should have been blown up with Sweden. Now, ain't there something, though? You got politicians, governors. They started coming out and say, well, despite what CDC said, we're still going to require you to wear a mask and all this stuff. And now we have the U.S. Nurses Union slams the CDC's relaxed mask guide, and it's dangerous. This is the biggest nurse union. And they said this comes from Newsweek, the largest union of registered nurses in the U.S. called upon the CDC to revise its relaxed mask guidelines for individuals who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 just 2 days after California broke the federal agency and extended its own mask mandate. So California extended its mask mandate going against the CDC. It's all of a sudden cool, hip, and now it's allowable to go against the CDC. People got their channels demonetized, taken down, struck over this bull crap. And now all of a sudden it's okay to go against the CDC. You ain't this crazy conspiracy theorist anymore. These guys are unbelievable. National Nurses United President Gene Ross decried the CDC's updated guidance as dangerous and disappointingly not in the best interest of public health. These economically illiterate doctors and nurses would have you shut down with diapers on your face for the rest of your life. We understand everyone's desire to get back to normal. Trust us, we nurses would like nothing better. But we are a profession based upon science, and the science shows this is exactly the wrong time to be relaxing our multi-pronged approach to infection control that studies show actually or work to control the virus. What studies? I would love to see, and I'm not talking about studies with mannequins and 3D models. Where are the actual? Where's the study with the random control trials that show what you're talking about is proven to work? The CDC announced last week that those who are protected against the virus no longer need to wear a mask and physically distance in any setting, but acknowledge exceptions for federal, state, blah, blah, blah. California public health officials announced on Monday the state extended its mask mandate, so they will be going against what the CDC had advised. California Health and Human Services Secretary Dr. Mark Ghaly said on Monday's statement, the extension will give Californians time to prepare for this change. There's no time. There's no need to prepare. Nothing to prepare for. I'm talking about prepare. The hell I'm talking about. Blah, blah, blah. The California Nurses Association, which is a founding member of the NNU, also condemned the CDC's updated mask guidance and said Monday in a statement it was encouraged that California decided to keep its mask requirements in place. But the state's decision has emerged for some as a controversial and confusing move for residents, business owners. Yeah, I mean, it's been confusing from the get-go. It's just now all of a sudden they start to disagree with each other. I didn't realize, nobody told me that the camera just shut off. Nobody was going to tell me that in the chat. I'm going to continue to go despite me not being seen. I don't know why the camera went away. I can't really control what the hell's going on here, but I'm going to continue on. But as you guys are seeing, this is a bunch of bull crap. Did my camera die or what? Maybe. I don't know what's going on. But as you're seeing, this is a bunch of bull crap. Here I am. Oh, yeah, the battery's exhausted. Okay, I'll fix that here in a little bit, guys. As you're seeing that these guys, as far as these nurses, they're on the opposite end on this position. And there was a point in time where they were pretty much in a correlation, if you will, coinciding more so with each other in terms of their position. But once the jig got up, they had to go back on it. Now everything's different. Okay, interesting. Now, of course, the nurses won't be considered anti-science or conspiracy theorists or anything, despite them going against the other experts that supposedly work for the CDC. It also says the county is not having anything to do with the mask remaining. Says we, in fact, have given our recommendation to the state that we want to align with the CDC and not wear masks, but we haven't heard any rescinding on that order from the state, so the masks will have to remain until June 15th. This is talking about the extension. So a lot of this has to do with California. And again, we mentioned that nurses union that is going to continue to with the mask mandates, or they think that it's more so dangerous is what they say. Dangerous that you guys would dare say that people don't require, after they got a jab, require to social distance and whatnot. That's hilarious. That's hilarious to me. But it's only hilarious because now it's appropriate to be in conflict with the CDC. Goes to show that this was never about consistency. This was about one specific narrative that they said was allowable. And anything that deviated from that at the time was an issue. And you're seeing that. Now, the thing that sucks that a lot of people are getting strung along and believing in this nonsense. So it is what it is. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.